Now bring it up. Can you hear us now? Should be able to hear us. I'll put audio output capture. 1 second. What's this?
I can hear us on the thing. I can hear us on the TV.
You should be able to hear us. Talk now, John.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the first HFD Premier League podcast.
My name's Johnny G. That's KP.
That's exactly right. Got a few people in the chat. Joy's in the chat. Childo's in the chat. Ethan. Hess is there.
Yes.
Hess is the best. Ever since Hess banned Chunky, he's never been back.
Oh my God, poor Chunky. Oh well, we want cool people in the chat, don't we?
Exactly. So, Ethan says we can hear you and everything. All right, guys. So, first Premier League podcast, as the heading says. Chris C says it looks great. We are going to be covering all things Premier League. We were doing, Man United thing before, but we decided to do it for the whole league. Obviously, we're going to talk more about Man United because that's our beloved. So, first thing we'll get into, they're the first questions we're going to ask John. Man United, finished third. Recap the season a bit. What did you take of that? What did you take of Man United's season? Let's hear it.
I mean, if you had told me at the start of the season, you win a cup, you're in the top three, and you actually also make an FA Cup final, I'd bite your hand off, really. So, but to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed at the end because we let Man City win the treble, and we could have stopped them ourselves by winning the FA Cup. So that was a bit of a disappointment.
I didn't ask anything about the treble.
That shall not be named.
No, I know what you mean. You gotta give them. They give their chocolates, don't they?
Ten Hag's first season, man. Look, I thought it was a success. I thought he improved some players in the squad. He brought in some good players, and I think some other players he brought in just need a little bit more time. But yeah, look. All in all, I think United had a good season. We had a few rough patches there. I don't think we scored enough goals. I think that's an issue Ten Hag has to sort out. He needs more goal scorers instead of just Rashford. But defensively, we're very good. I wish we could hold and retain the ball a bit better. We're still a bit more counter-attacking. So, but other than that, I was pleased, man. And I hope we can improve on next season.
Well, I think I agree with you. Like, you got to say, if you actually break it down, everything Ten Hag dealt with, I mean, like, people forget Cristiano Ronaldo played for Man United this year. And, I mean, he did that interview. Ten Hag dealt with that. I mean, he didn't have a striker. He brought in Wout Weghorst, fuck's sake. Like, I mean, to put it bluntly, like, we were dealing with him.
Yes.
And he did amazing, I think. I agree. He got Rashford over 30. Is the first player since Rooney, I think, and Van Persie to score 30 goals in a season. So that tells you everything about where we've been for 10 years, because that was probably when we went to England, man, 2012, like back then.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got Rashford, like, and he loves Rashford, you can tell, but he's got him confident, like, he walks into most teams. That's how good he's playing, because everyone always, and I was saying it to you, everyone always has shots at him about, does he do this? Does he do that? But he fucking delivers, man. He delivers for us, and without him, we would have been, fuck knows where we would have been. So,
100%.
So yeah, no, he did excellent. I agree. Would have bitten his hand off for it. But in saying that, so we'll turn to what United have done since the season's end. Obviously, we got a cup, finished third. We said it was great. I'm just going to bring up this transfers page. Here we go here. So I brought that up. Now, Alex Telles has come back to United, obviously from loan, and Eric Bailly. And they haven't gone anywhere yet. But players out. Zidane Iqbal, 1 million. Phil Jones, no club. Axel Tonzibi, no club. This is the big one. David De Gea, Golden Glove winner, no club. It's, whatever they're going to do with it, I don't know, but no club at the moment. Jack Butland, gone back to Palace. Weghorst, back to Burnley. And Sabitzer, back to Bayern Munich. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players out the door. And it hasn't got it here, but Mason Mount has come in. And I mean, what we're at, I don't know, where are we? What stage are we at? We're not. We just hit July. So what do you take of that? Like, obviously we need a keeper now, right? Like, what's?
Yeah, well, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. I think the way they handled David De Gea's situation, the club, it was disgraceful, really. Like he's probably our most consistent player we've had, like, for years and years, and he's been a
10 years.
true servant to the club. And I feel like most of the fans have just chucked him away, and I feel like the club is sort of haven't given him a proper goodbye. Like, he deserves a proper goodbye. And like, it's just like, yeah, see you later. And the bloke actually got married this weekend as well. And
apparently he woke up on the day of his wedding day with no job, technically.
I mean, it's disgrace, really. But look, I get it. Ten Hag wants to move in a different direction. He wants to start from the keeper upwards. I understand that, but it just feels a bit disrespectful how we've just gotten rid of him. I heard there was rumours that he did sign a contract and then it was taken away from him again. So, look, all the best for De Gea. You know, he's one of the best keepers we've ever had. He's definitely in the top three. And, I think Man United have to find a number one goalkeeper now. And I don't think Dean Henderson is our solution. So, I heard the rumours of Onana floating around. I just feel like, was he just a flavour of the month sort of thing because he was in the Champions League final?
I think it's more because he played for Ten Hag at Ajax as well. That's what I think it is. It's more that. So, but I don't know. Listen, I agree. 100, and if there's more than 100%, 150%, like, he has been. Like, I don't care. I'll fight anyone. That he's a legend of our club. To be treated like that is ridiculous. Now, 5 player. Who else? I don't know who else in Man United's history can say they've won 5 Player of the Years. Don't quote me on it, but I don't know who else can say that. Like, it'd be a very select few, if any, can say that. And okay, he wants to go a different direction, like you said, the playing out the back and that. But I wonder how much of it was actually Murtagh and fucking Arnold. That I've got no idea. But it is what it is. I think he should have had a send off. Onana is good. He is a good keeper. I've seen him. I'm not going to say I've watched him a lot, but he is a good keeper. And they're talking about him or Costa from Porto. So. But as you know, you've seen it, we've seen it growing up. Being a good keeper is one thing. Being a good keeper for Manchester United is a completely different thing.
That's right.
And, like, we've seen that. Like, Mark Bosnich was one of the best keepers in the world. He came, he had one good year with United, he was gone. Barthez was a World Cup winner. Had a good year, he was done. It's not an easy gig standing in this Taibbi, whatever. He was still a Serie A goalkeeper. It's not an easy gig, like being in
some
sticks.
Say it's the hardest position. Some say it's the hardest
exactly.
position.
And Rob is saying, apparently, I read this today, that Justin Bilio from Feyenoord is on Ten Hag's list as well. Listen, I don't know. Obviously, he's, it just depends. It also depends how much money he's got, man. Like, this whole thing with the takeover is, mind the French, fucking ridiculous. Like, so.
Yeah. The Glazers are really stuffing it up.
They are, man. But like we said, we've touched on United. The other things we'll touch on about is, what else would you like to see them get in? Obviously, Mount's in. What do you actually think of the Mount deal? I'll ask you first, and then what else do they need?
It feels like we're doing it the wrong way around. I think we need a striker, which should have been our number one priority. Get in the best striker you can. And then obviously maybe get the keeper and then get a midfielder. I think they've gone midfielder first, and now they've gone keeper. And now that it feels like we've only got a little bit of money left, and it could be that young kid from Atalanta as a striker.
Rasmus Højlund, yeah.
Rasmus Højlund. And how can you rely on a 20-year-old as your striker if Haaland is a different breed, but. Do you know what I mean? He's no Haaland, or not yet anyways. But
No way in hell.
It's real strange what Man United is doing, and we can't sell a player for the life of us. We just can't sell anyone. We're the worst club in the transfer market, I have to admit. We're terrible at transfers. So hopefully we do get taken over, and hopefully we get a better football model behind us, and better people running the club, because we're just run so poorly that it shows in the transfers, and people take us for a ride. And Mount's a good player, but I don't know. I'll give him a year or so, but I don't know. I just can't see Casemiro, Mount, and Fernandes in the midfield three. I feel like there's a lot of holes in that midfield. So we'll see what Ten Hag does, really. So,
well, listen, the one that gets me is, and we'll touch on it, we'll talk about them next, is we paid 50 million for him, or whatever it is, 50 plus 5, and Man City got Kovacic from Chelsea for 35.
I mean, there's a bit of an age gap. And
but wouldn't Kovacic have suited us a bit better? That he's sitting deeper. I don't know, but
I think
our great friend from the Footy Podcast, Con, says, "What is the difference between a Man United keeper and others? I'm new to this EPL thing. The difference is, Childo, is that it's just the pressure of playing for Man United is like no other club in the world, and people can argue that, but deep down, everyone knows that." And it's such a specialist position. When you're under that pressure, it's just, so many people have failed in that position. And like I said, World Cup winners, big-time players have failed there. It wasn't until Van der Sar came that we filled Schmeichel's shoes. So it's just the actual pressure of Old Trafford that gets to people. But I'm with you, man. I don't know how we're going to rest our laurels on Højlund. I mean, he's only, 20? 21? Like, it's ridiculous.
9 Serie A goals or something like that.
Like, he wasn't even first choice this year. It was meant to be this year going in, but... And then, on the flip side of it, like, I think in my head, do you actually want Harry Kane when he's not showing any ambition to want to leave Tottenham, is he? So, do you want him? Like, he's done everything he can there.
Yeah, look, I feel like, why are we only talking about 3 strikers? Ramos.
I know.
Isn't the whole world full of strikers? I'm sure there's other strikers in the world. Don't we have scouts to do a job? But, look, Man United, they need to get their ass in the gear. They need to get players for Ten Hag before the season, the pre-season, so they can bet them in. And I think Ten Hag will be really pushing the hierarchy to do that for him. So
I agree. Rob says Mount. He doesn't think Mount will fit in, and he says he thinks Kane might be going to buy him. That is the talk. That is the talk.
Shearer will love that one.
Oh, he will love that one. When he was saying about it, hey, listen, man, I get where it's coming from. You'd be happy for them to break it, but you don't want anyone to break your record, do you? I mean, they're meant to be broken, but that's fine. That doesn't bother me. We'll get Rob. Next time we have Rob on here, we'll have him. We'll talk about Man City next, but we'll get him to talk about it a bit more when we bring him on. But, we've talked about United. We've said we want a midfielder. Everyone's saying we want a midfielder, centre-back, striker, and a keeper, which I don't think is going to happen. I just think we might need another midfielder to back up Casemiro. We definitely need a striker and obviously a keeper now. Whether that happens, and I'm with you, like, isn't there players out there? Like, go scout. Casido was 5 million when he went to Brighton. Now they're selling him for 100. Like, go do some scouting, man. Like, what about, what's his name that played for Ten Hag? He's at Bayern. They don't want him. Gravenberg. Why don't you go for him? Like, go. He was a star with Ten Hag. Like, but I don't know. It's that.
Man,
but
United's frustrating, man.
It is. Well, quick note. We'll just do it quickly. Where do you see United finishing this year? Where are we finishing? With the head, not with the heart. Where are we finishing?
Right now, 4th or 5th.
I'm going to go out there. I'm going to say, I reckon we finish 3rd again. I reckon we do. And I reckon more points. We get more points too.
I hope so. I hope
that's what I reckon. I reckon more points. I think, listen, I know he won the Golden Glove, but I actually think the playing out from the back thing is going to help us hold the ball more if he gets like Onana or something. And I think we'll progress. Varane and Martinez had great seasons last year. I think they'll go on. Wan-Bissaka, Dalot did really well. Shaw did excellent. Ericsson was doing excellent until he got injured too. Now they got Mount to swap with him. Sorry. So, I'm going to say 3rd, but we'll go to the team that I don't really want to talk about, but we'll touch them. Man City, they obviously won a treble, so they won everything. Finally got their hands on everything. They have lost some important players. I'll bring up that transfer thing again if I can get to City. It's there. Where are they? So City have brought in Kovacic, Couto, Herrera, like some loans event. But the only actual player they've brought in is Kovacic at the moment. And they've lost who I think is a real big player. In my opinion, I don't think Kovacic is as good as him. They've lost Gundogan to Barcelona on a free transfer. So, Mendy, it says Benjamin Mendy is gone without club. He was going through like a charge, like a police charge and that. But they've got Cancelo back at the moment. Whether he stays, I don't know. But I don't think Kovacic is as good as Gundogan. I thought Gundogan was like arguably their most important player last year. He played excellent in every final, in the run-in.
It was definitely up there with Haaland and De Bruyne this year.
Oh.
Those three. So big loss to the team, big character for him. Look, Kovacic is a good player. I'll probably describe Kovacic as a steady, or should I say steady Eddie?
Oh my God, we do it. I've played the game. Look, he's pretty consistent, Kovacic, and I don't think he makes Man City better, and I don't think he makes Man City worse. So I think they can't replace Gundogan, but look, Man City are the benchmark of the Premier League. No matter what anyone does this year in transfers, everyone wants to be like Man City and play consistent football like they do and beat them over the line at the end of the year. So, look, I think they still got a bit of money to spend this year, Man City. They're obviously battling for Declan Rice. I think Arsenal are going to win that race. But obviously Man City got money spare to spend, so I'm sure they will buy some good players still and reaffirm their spot. Yeah, they're definitely the benchmark. I 100% agree. But like you said, Gundogan's a big loss, man. I just saw it then on that transfer thing I brought up. He's only 32. I mean, that's not old at all. Considering how he bossed games last year, like it's definitely made Barcelona better, put it that way, because he's, he was really good for them, man. Like, so I don't know. And he was their captain as well. I don't know how much that means at a team like Man City, but he was club captain as well. So, and as Rob just said, he goes, Gundogan is a big game player, Kovacic isn't. And I agree. That's what I said in the run-in. Gundogan was huge. FA Cup final, as we know, massive against us. Like Champions League final, he played well. Like, he's a big game player. Joy says City are heavy favourites to win next season. When does the new season start? Concerts about August 8th, I think it is. Yeah. And Reborn says, "Hey fellas, hey Reeves, how are you, man?"
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Man City, they keep on doing what they're doing. I hope we obviously get a good takeover and Qatar come in and we can match these bastards.
Like, I know, man. It's crazy. Like you don't know. The thing about them is, like you just said, they're going to have money to spend, but who are they going to buy and who do they really need to buy? They've got Alvarez and Haaland up front. Maybe they might sell Mahrez or something because he's getting a bit older and get a younger winger. But I mean, I don't know.
Grealish had a big year.
Grealish played well, yeah.
I don't know. They got Phillips and he hardly played, so it's just like
I reckon he's going to go. Someone will come in. Yeah, I don't know.
They can almost field a second team, Man City. You know what I mean? That's how much good quality depth they got. So they got two good keepers.
Our sources from England say, which is Reborn, says Man City are in for Gvardiol for 100 million as of this morning. There you go. The defender, the Croatian, he's a great player too. So, but do they even need him, man? They've got maybe because they're going to lose Laporte, but they've got Stones, Diaz, Akanji. Like they haven't fucking.
They weren't even using Laporte last season.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, man.
Angie Stones and Diaz, really. I don't
It's
even know Diaz.
crazy. Joy says, would you give Arsenal a chance to win next season? Personally, I wouldn't, but we'll talk about that when we touch on them. I think they're going to struggle a bit more next season because they're in Europe now, the Champions League, and expectations, man. Expectations. And Rob says, what did he say there? Oh, he goes, have we heard anything about the 115 charges against Man City? I haven't personally. I don't know where that's gone, but it's true.
Rob, Man City have got too good of lawyers to get.
Yeah, I agree.
They've got an
and
army
then Rob
of
said,
army of lawyers.
And then Rob said they're probably pushing Stones and Foden like into the midfield areas, but that's what he did. He pushed Stones in midfield last year. So, but in a quick one, if you're to ask you, we'll do it with them as well. Man City next year, where are you tipping them?
Look, all my predictions can change after the transfers when it gets to August time. But right now, they're winning it again right now. So number one.
I know, and that'll be 4 in a row, man, which would break our record. I know we're like Chicago Bulls, Man United. We did a 3-peat twice, but no, we are like we're the only team to do it twice. But mate, they could win 4 in a row. And who stops them in Europe next year is the question.
I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
Messi's gone from PSG. Like who stops them? I don't know.
I mean, what is Real Madrid got a striker? Not really. They got Bellingham come in, but it's hard. It's hard to see that right now, really.
Reborn, we will touch on him right now because the next team we're going to talk about is the only team we dislike more than Man City is Liverpool.
No.
So I'll bring up their transfers, Liverpool.
They just bought an FM Wonder Kid, man.
I know, man. That's who he's asking about.
I can't even say his name. Sloboja.
Oh, no, that's who they're asking about. So I've got theirs up here. So they've got Sobozliai, or however you pronounce it, in from Leipzig for 70 million. They got Alexis McAllister in for 42 million, which is a huge one as well.
Bargain.
The others they've got in are just end of loans, but the players out. Naby Keita, gone, free transfer. James Milner, gone. He was a flop. Calvin Ramsey, gone. Fabio Carvalho, gone on a loan. Roberto Firmino, gone without club. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, without club. And Reece Williams, loan to Aberdeen. So, listen, from what I've seen of him, Reeves, he is a really good player. As John said, he's a wonder kid in FM, but I'm not going to lie and say I've seen him, week in, week out, but I think he's captained his national team already and he's only 22. He looks a good player. And the other one that I think is good is that they got McAllister, which really worries me because Klopp has bought he's bought 2 midfielders now. He knows midfield was my problem. I want energy, and they'll be back to that pressing machine, I think. But if we were to touch on Liverpool, we'll quickly touch on them. How did you see their season? It was a bit underwhelming for them.
Yeah, they had a poor season from their standard. At the start of the season, everyone was saying it was Liverpool and Man City fighting it out. So they dropped off and they struggled at times. And look, they still managed to smash us that one game, which is disappointing. Look, Liverpool are going to be up there again. They've got Klopp as a great manager, and they've brought in 2 great signings with McAllister. So I actually like McAllister more than Sloboja because
me too. I 100% agree.
I heard Sloboja. I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but
it's a hard name to pronounce, man.
Apparently, he's fantastic on the ball and he's got a rocket for a shot, but he's not the quickest. He's not the quickest.
That's true.
So, but McAllister's very energetic and quick, so maybe that makes up for it. Liverpool, man. I hope they flop every year, but look,
I would have loved McAllister.
Another year for Nunez is going to get another preseason and another year under his belt, so he could improve, and that could be an issue for the Premier League, really.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Rob reckons he goes Gakpo 15 plus goals this season, which it would fill in for them, and he reckons Darwin Núñez is better off opening a beachside cafe. So the thing is, I actually think he's going to have a good season this year.
He showed signs. He showed signs, didn't he, towards the end of last season?
You can't have that many chances. I'm a striker from that point of view. The minute he gets his finishing sorted out, he's going to score goals because he gets so many chances. That means he knows where to be. That's, Reborn says, I think we need to replace Fabinho. I'd love to bring in Barella, but we will see maybe a centre-back. See, I reckon McAllister, they'll try. Yeah, I agree, they do. They need a defensive midfielder, but it's a bit glaring at the moment they don't have a defensive midfielder, but it depends how Klopp's going to play. He changes it up. And then Chris C says, let's go Spurs. We're definitely going to talk about them, big man, because one of our very own Greek Australian is managing them, and we'll definitely talk about that. So,
I'm not sure.
You said you see them back up there, Liverpool. You said this year.
Yeah, look, I reckon they're going to be in the back four on the hunt for top four.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's hard to see anyone battling City right now for the title challenge. But out of all the clubs, I probably will say Liverpool and then Arsenal. So I'm tipping Liverpool for second right now. But look, it's hard to say. I still think they're lacking in defence, Liverpool. I'm not sure if they're going to play Trent on as a fullback because he's just woeful back there. And I'm not sure, is Van Dijk on the decline?
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, and but I'm not sure. And Gomez, I don't rate him. So I think they do have a centre-back issue, or coming up they have a centre-back issue. But look, Liverpool have got some good players. They've got a great coach, and they're in a better position, I would say, than Man United right now.
There you go. Heard it from a Man United fan himself. But I agree. It's not just for Liverpool. I watched Van Dijk for Holland, and he hasn't looked good, man. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm tipping him to really push for top four. I'm not going to say second because I've actually got the biggest Rafi that I think is going to do really well this year, but we'll see. But the next one we'll talk about is for doing good, let's say, the biggest surprise packet of the year, which was Arsenal. So I'll bring up their transfers. Well, I don't know what they've brought in yet, but they haven't got Declan Rice yet, but here's Arsenal. They've got in. So far, they've got in Kai Havertz, and that's it.
Oh, jeez, I thought they had more.
So, Kai Havertz, obviously, because they're saying about Declan Rice and that, but they've got Tavares in, who was already there, though. He was there on loan. They just bought him off the loan, and Havertz is the only confirmed one. 70 million for Havertz, which the time he had at Chelsea, for me, I think is way overpaid, and they lost to Maitland-Niles, nothing spectacular. Pablo Mari, nothing crazy. But they're obviously going for Declan Rice. But what did you make of Arsenal, man?
Look, they obviously had a great season last year. They overachieved. They surprised me. They were in the title race nearly the whole season. So it's a pretty good, turnaround for Arsenal. I wasn't expecting that. Odegaard, what a year he had. Really pulled the strings in that attacking midfielder role.
Oh, yeah.
Saka really improved this year as well. Great player off the wing. And Xhaka, he actually had a good season in the centre mid for him. And Partey, they actually played really well. So, and that Saliba, that defender, I really like him. But look, Arsenal played some really good football this year. I think they played out of their skins to run with Man City as long as they did. Can they back that up? That's a big question. If they can back that up, that's a hard ask. And look, they got a player in Havertz. If they can get Havertz of old, where he used to play in Leverkusen or something.
Leverkusen. When he was there, it was amazing. Yeah.
If they get that Havertz, it'll end up being a bargain. But if they get the Chelsea Havertz, then maybe it's a bit over. But we'll see if time tells. But look, Arsenal, they're in the Champions League, like you mentioned before. It's going to be a bit tougher this year. A lot of people are going to work them out this year and, gun for them as well. So I think they'll be sort of around with the Man U, I reckon, fighting for that 4th, 5th right now. Yeah. Just as the transfers sit right now.
Yeah. Well, Reborn says, Konate, if he can stay fit, is amazing. Because Virgil van Dijk has not been right since the injury, and he's a Liverpool fan. So Chris says, Spurs and Ange are coming for you all. Mate, I hope they do well, mate. We hope they do well. No. Reborn says, I think Rice is done. Rob says Havertz, no. And Reborn says, I think it's 100 plus 5 in add-ons. The thing I'll say about Havertz is, and you mentioned a few players that I'm going to mention about him is, you said it, Odegaard had such a good year. Where's Havertz playing? He ain't taken Odegaard's spot. He's not playing up front in Jesus' spot because he was terrible up front for Chelsea. Where's he playing? I don't know. For 70 million, that's massive. You know, for a player, you don't know where he's going to fit in.
I was thinking that because the only spot he really likes to play, his best role was attacking mid. Odegaard spot.
Exactly. And then, like you touched on it, like Partey and Xhaka had real good seasons, and Partey is meant to be going to Saudi Arabia and Xhaka as well. And listen, I do like Rice, but are you telling me it's night and day that Rice is better than Partey? Like night and day better? I don't think he is. So are they actually? Is it improving? It might be a little bit, but not that much. So they haven't. They're just where they are. But apparently they're getting Timber, who we were going for last year, which I think will be a great signing for them. I actually reckon he'll play right back instead of Ben White. So
versatile defender.
Yeah, so I agree. I think they're going to be fighting for top 4, but yeah, I don't know. Like it depends. Like you said, we're so early in the transfers. Once we get a few more transfers, we can talk about it in the coming weeks. But the next team we're going to talk about is the biggest surprise to me the other way, how bad they were, is Chelsea. So when I bring up their page, it's going to be unbelievable because it's going to be too big to probably fit on the screen of ins and outs. And
I don't think I know a Chelsea fan. I know most fans of other clubs. I don't know a Chelsea fan.
I got a few Chelsea fans at soccer, like the Gazzetto boys and that. Like, yeah. But look, I'm going to sit here this. So ins, they got Nkuku in for 60 million, which we knew was happening. Nicholas Jackson from Villarreal, who I don't even know about, 37 million is a lot. Moreira in on free transfer. A few young ones that they brought up from the 21s, and a few like loans have ended. They still got Bakayoko, loan ended. Callum Hudson-Odoi, loan ended. Lukaku is a Chelsea player, loan ended. Work that out. And then the outs. This is where I think they've done well. Kai Havertz out, 70 million. Kovacic out, 30 million. Koulibaly out, 23 million. Mendy, who, man, I'll tell you what, Man United could have went for him, the goalkeeper, out, 20 million. Loftus-Cheek, 16 million. Encante, free transfer. João Felix, loan ended. Zakaria, loan ended. So, you know, their transfers in and out are ridiculous, but Pochettino in, they've actually got a real manager in, which is why I think, and they're not in Europe, that I'm actually tipping Chelsea do really well this year.
Yeah, you know, that's the big, that's what everyone forgets, you know what I mean? They can just focus on the league this year.
Yeah.
And Pochettino is a good manager, and he can make a squad work together.
Yeah.
Look, Chelsea have got players, man. They've spent a lot of money. They've got good talent. They just need to figure out how to play with each other, not be individual.
Exactly.
So if they can work that out, look, they've had a lot of people leave the club. I've heard a lot of fans love all the exits, but a lot of them wanted Mount to stay. So
exactly.
Did they oversell? I don't know. I think they had to sell all these players anyway because of FFP. But look, Chelsea, I reckon they will improve. I think they have to improve. And they still need a striker. And just touching on that Felix thing, I think, you know, United should try and poach a loan move for Felix if we can't afford to buy a keeper. Striker, sorry. But, yeah, man, look, Nkuku, he's a good player. I don't know anything about Jackson, like you said.
No, nothing.
No, and I don't know who they're linked with. I think they're like Casido.
And apparently that's done, almost. It's almost done, they're saying. But that's going to improve them. Like, losing Kante, Casido, it's like Kante 10 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, man, I really like Casido. So that'll be a big hit for them. But yeah, man, I'm like you, man. I think they will be up there in the second and third fighting with Liverpool. I think they will improve. It will surprise people. But look, Chelsea got players, man, and they don't have Europe. They can focus on the Premier League, and that's always a big thing. So
yeah, well, what a lot of people
like Newcastle did.
100%. What a lot of people forget is the last time Chelsea did this when they finished 10th. They hired Antonio Conte the next year, they weren't in Europe, and they won the league.
There you go.
And they smashed it too, because they did not have Europe to worry about. And listen, I'm not saying people say, yeah, Pochettino, a lot of people don't like him and that, but they sacked him from PSG and they brought in a guy who did worse. You know, he got sacked for winning a league at PSG, and it's proven that it's obviously the playing group there, not the manager. Like he made a Champions League final with Tottenham. Like that's unheard of, you know what I mean? So Chris says Amanda is Chelsea. There you go.
There you go. Wow, I know someone.
And yeah, there you go. A name I've heard everywhere is Romeo Lavia from Southampton. Yeah, I've heard that too. Then
I heard he's going to Liverpool.
Yeah, I've heard that too. You just don't
another
know.
midfielder.
Maybe that's the guy they're trying to get defensive to replace Fabinho, but I know, but yeah, I think they're going to do real good this year. I think they're going to do real good. And the next team we should touch on, which I think we should give them their chocolates, is the team that finished in the top 4, which is Newcastle. So bring them up. I think you've got to talk about them just because of how good they did.
Well, they had a great season, didn't they? Really good season. They did it without even really breaking the bank yet. So
exactly. And the only player they've actually bought so far is Minte from somewhere. He's a Danish player for 7 million. So they haven't really bought anything in, and they've sold Chris Wood for 17 million. They've sold, like, you know, we're saying with United we're struggling to sell Maguire, and they sold Chris Wood. He can't even kick a ball for 17 million now. Like, what?
Didn't they sign Tonali? Was that?
Apparently, they're trying to sign him at the moment. That's the.
It's not over the line yet. So
but I think they are going to go for him. So
I mean, that's a big signing, Tonali, if they can pull that off for Newcastle.
Huge signing, man.
But yeah, man, so, what a year for Newcastle, man. Like, if you're a Newcastle supporter, you'll be happy as Larry. You know, Champions League, top 4. What can I say? They played good football, and especially towards the end of the year, they had some really good results.
Oh, definitely, man. They definitely had a big year.
That midfield, what's his name? Romaris?
Bruno Guimaraes.
He's a good player, man.
Yeah.
Very good player. So
Reborn says it's done. They've signed Tonali.
There you go. So their midfield,
so Tonali and Guimaraes.
The midfield's up there with our midfield, or if not better.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Newcastle are going to be formidable again. So that top 6 sort of battle is just as hard. You know what I mean? So not everyone can be in the top 6. So people are going to miss out.
Man. No way. And like, if I agree with you. If you're comparing them, right? For me personally, I'd pick Casemiro. The 2 Brunos are on par. Bruno Guimaraes and Fernandes, in my opinion. And then you're taking Tonali over Mason Mount, I reckon. So, you know, it's up in the air. Like, if they're good, better, or like, it's very on par with United's anyway, put it that way. So, and Reborn is saying it's very good, in my opinion. Rob is saying that's a great buy. Rob says, unless you have depth, you have to sacrifice a trophy or 2. It's too much on international players. And I think that's what Arsenal did. That's what
Man United really struggled last year. We had no quality and depth. You know, I mean, that was our big main issue. So.
Oh, definitely. So, yeah, I agree, man. They had a great year. Joe Linton was playing midfield, and he had a great year. I mean, all round they played well. Wilson and Isaac both blitzed up front. Like, we would have loved to have one of them, you know, as a centre forward. So how are they going to cope with Champions League? Eddie Howe's never managed there and that, but listen, they've had a real good year. They're going to start spending, man.
I think we'll see where Newcastle go with their spending spree, if they do or not. Yeah. But if they keep it low key and that, I think they might regress just a little bit. I think they might slip out the top 4. But just because I think Eddie Howe's a good manager, but I don't rate him as the top 6 sort of manager. But
yeah, I agree. Reborn
he could prove me wrong and win a Champions League. So
no, I agree, man. Reborn says, I can't stand that one Bruno. All he does is cry. Great player, but put the tissues away. So I think he's trying to have a dig at us about Fernandes. But you know what? I love that in him as a captain, to be honest.
At least he's showing something on the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I just love how he just hounds people. He just keeps going. He doesn't give people a break. And I love that. But, you know, if you weren't on his team. It's like we talked about, like in the footy, like Stephen Milne and Ballantyne. You hate them when you're playing against them, but they're on your team. You love those players that irritate people. But yeah, Newcastle, man. I always said the day they make top 4, everyone look out. Because if they do what they're capable of doing, I mean, even in a couple of years, Man City in trouble because, they can't go out for coffee with these guys. That's how much money Saudi Arabia have got. It's ridiculous when you're actually thinking about it. So, yeah, just depends what they do, what they spend. Tonali, that's a great signing, like Reborn saying, if that's him. So, it's just, I think it depends on the manager. I think this year, if they regress, like you're saying, Howe gets sacked and they get Luis Enrique or something. You know what I mean? They're going to get someone big. I
feel like a big manager's around the corner.
Definitely. It happened with City. Remember it happened with them? They had Mark Hughes and Pierce and all that and Keegan, and then they went bang and got someone in, someone Mancini. And that's what's going to happen. So. Pellegrini, that's right. So, but yeah, no, they had a good year, and I'm going to say, I don't know if they'll make top 4 again, but that could all change in a month when they spend £500 million. I don't know. So.
That's right.
You don't know. You don't know. So at the moment, I'm going to say 5th or 6th around there. But like you said, not everyone can finish there. So
yeah, I'm going around 6th or 7th around there at the moment. Yeah.
Like what I'll do is next we'll touch on a few of the other teams. I think one of the teams that's really going to surprise everyone is they're trying to buy Pau Torres at the moment. Is they've bought Yuri Tielemans. Is Aston Villa. I'll bring their thing up.
Yeah, apparently they've had a great win. A lot of people are talking about Villa's transfer market right now.
They have, man, and he's a real good manager, Emery. So they've got Yuri Tielemans in for free transfer. Sorry, he's worth 25 million. They bought a guy in Moraz that they already had. Apparently they're about to sign Pau Torres, and all they've lost is Ashley Young, who's 37, and a 30-year-old third choice goalkeeper Steer. So, and I mean. They did amazing when Emery come in. Reborn's love child, Steven Gerrard, had them in relegation. And Emery came in and got them... What, did they finish in Europe? I can't remember where. They were very close anyway. So
yeah, they had
7th or something. Yeah, so they're going to be real good next year. Yeah, I think conference. So, they made Europe. And then you got other teams like Brighton that did... absolutely amazing. People thought they were going to struggle because they lost Potter, and they did fucking way even better. And they bought so many players, and they got their thing up. They bought that João Pedro in from Watford, who me and John know all about because Football Manager.
Yeah.
But they got James Milner in for a year, free transfer. Dahoud from Borussia Dortmund for a free transfer. So they're making moves. I mean, they're Brighton. You know what I mean? And they've only lost. Well, I don't even. What have they lost? Where are they here? Brighton have lost McAllister. They've lost McAllister so far and a few free transfers that they don't care about.
They're very good at the transfer market, Brighton. Very good.
Oh, big time. So, you got them to worry about. Then
this top 10 is looking very tough.
Big time, man. The only other shock for me of the year was Bournemouth. Their manager, Gary O'Neill, got nominated for Manager of the Year, and they sacked him. He got him out of relegation, and they sacked him for some Spanish guy. So I don't know what happened there, but something must have happened behind the scenes. But the other big up we've got to give is Luton are in the Premier League. First time ever. That's crazy, man.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing Luton in the Premier League.
Man, me too.
Have you seen their ground? You got to pretty much walk through houses to get to their ground. Man. It's amazing. So
it's funny, man. I think Bournemouth Stadium is 12,000. I think there's 8 or something. They're so small, these two stadiums.
Highmarsh is bigger, eh?
Highmarsh is 20,000. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So, yeah, and Reborn said Brentford, if they can get someone in while Tony is out. So, Brentford, I think that's going to hit them, having no Ivan Toney for the first till December, I think it is. But
yeah, they'll slip down this year.
Yeah, I think they will. But the other club we'll touch on a bit more. Like I said, we want to, and I'll bring up the transfers again, is Tottenham. Our great man, Ange Postecoglou, has gone there. And listen, I've said this to everyone. There's one thing about Ange that everyone's forgetting to say. A lot of them are not happy with it over there.
No, they call him Postecoglou.
Yeah, or Ange Posta no clue. But
Postecoglou.
yeah, but they got in James Maddison, 46 million. Kulusevski's permanent. Pedro Porro permanent. They've gotten out a few, they've got in players so Maddison people will be happy with. They sold Harry Winks for 11 million. Lucas Moura, free transfer done. So, I mean, so far he's signed a few players. He's, James Maddison. And the one thing I'll say about Ange, I'll just get rid of that transfer page, is every club he's been at, no matter what level it's at, he's won things. So, I don't know what that means to the people over there. Tottenham, the fans are a bit fickle, in general, but he's won leagues with Brisbane, Melbourne Victory. He won leagues in China. He won leagues when he got to Celtic. Rangers were top. He was not top, and he won 2 back-to-back leagues, a domestic treble. So, he obviously knows what he's doing. Asian Cup with Australia. I said that's the one thing I always say that, and you remind me, is he's the only man in the history that can say he's won a trophy with Australia. And that's up against the likes of Gus Hiddink, people like that. That's a big thing to say. He's the only man in history that can say that, to my knowledge, that he won something with Australia, something significant, so.
I think besides the Australia job, I think this is his toughest gig yet with Tottenham. And I think if they lose Kane, I think he's even more.
Oh, he's going to be in it, yeah.
Look, he's got a mountain of work to do, and I just really hope Tottenham are patient. I hope they stick with him. I think if they give him this year, because honestly, I think it's going to be a tough first year for Ange. I can see him finishing 7th, 8th, maybe around 9th even. So if you just back him and give him a couple transfers and really work with him, he could really turn your club into a fighter again and a top 4 contender. But look, it's going to take time, I think, with Tottenham.
Yeah.
So hopefully Ange doesn't. I hope they don't get smashed and he gets under the whip too early. But look, I don't want him to be more successful than Man United, obviously. But obviously, I've got a soft spot for Ange, and I want him to do well.
You got to.
So, but look, I can see Tottenham struggling this year unless they really pull off some crazy signings in my eyes. But look, Maddison's a good player, but does he change the tide too much for me? I don't think he does. Yeah,
no, I agree. I, at the moment, says toughest gig yet. True, but Ange has always been building for this. He won't hold any fear. And I agree. Listen, I remember watching him as a player and as a manager. He's been building for this, and some people have said, "Oh, maybe he was crazy to take it," but you're not turning down that job, are you?
No, look, if he makes success out of Tottenham, this could make his career huge. He'll be all over the world stage. You know what I mean? So he could go to an even bigger club after that. So
exactly. So
this is his chance. And first Australian Premier League manager, and it's good to see.
Brendan Rodgers went from Celtic winning the domestic treble to Leicester and won an FA Cup. Why can't Ange do it? He came from the exact same situation. Won a domestic treble. If he goes and even wins the League Cup, he's going to be a hero. Spurs in Europe, I'm not used to looking that far down the ladder, Rob says. Man City fans, man, they're just being mean. Being mean. At the moment says Spurs will be flying after Christmas. I agree. That's what happened with Celtic in the first year. They were flying. It just depends how his transfers go, man. It's obviously a tougher league. Does he keep Kane is huge because, listen, even if they get in 80 million, who's he going to get to replace him? I don't know.
That's another club that is in desperate need for a keeper, aren't they?
Yeah, Lloris is gone. Lloris is done. So
they need a good keeper as well.
Yeah, they need a keeper.
I think they need a 2 centre backs. I reckon. I don't rate their centre backs.
Big time. Eric Dyer's. He's the only one that's comparable to being as bad as Harry Maguire. He's terrible.
And I mean, you can get away with the fullbacks at the moment, but you probably need a midfielder. You probably need a winger. There's a few holes in Tottenham, man. So
they got their front line is Kulusevski, Son, who didn't have a good year, but we know, he's Golden Boot the year before, and Harry Kane at the moment, which is good, but do they all stay fit? You don't know. The midfield, Højbjerg, Madison now, it's, you just need give him some money, and to me, I'd be fixing up that defense and the goalkeepers side of things. Like,
yeah, 100%. Shore up the defense and the goalkeeper, and then work from there.
Reborn says, has Maguire gone yet? West Ham are sniffing around this, and I hope they're sniffing around.
I'll drive them there, Reborn. Okay,
yeah,
I'll take you over there, bro.
So, well, I want to touch on West Ham a little bit as well. So West Ham, they won their first European trophy since, I don't know what the exact year is, but they obviously, in the end, they fought relegation, but they won a European trophy. They're in the Europa this year. They had a good year. Good
on Moisey.
Yeah, good on him. He needs some centre-backs and another winger. A strong six will be good too. Amrabat, at the moment, saying for Tottenham. Yeah, he does, man. He needs players. Definitely needs centre-backs. 100% agree with that. So, listen, I just hope he does well. I hope Ange does well. He's, like we said, he's one of our own, so...
Touching on West Ham, they're losing Rice now. So they're going to be...
losing Rice, yeah. See, if you were them, would you go to Man City and use, I don't know, would they even need half? Use some of that Rice money and get Phillips. The Man City
100%.
need Phillips? That's what I'd do.
100% try and get Phillips. Yeah.
Like something like that. Maybe he's not as good, but you replace him at least. I don't know. They're going to have to sign players as well.
He's an England international, Phillips. So
he's an England. Mate. He gets in the England team and he doesn't play, so he must be awesome. He must be Maradona.
Get him and Maguire. Get him and Maguire. Give us some of that Rice. Give us some of that Rice money, man.
Reborn's agreeing with us. He goes, Phillips, even on loan for a season, just bring someone like that in. So listen, I don't know who goes for Maguire. We'll touch on United a bit again, but they're saying Ten Hag wants him gone. But man, does anyone really pay for that guy? Like, seriously?
We're gonna end up have to do like the salary.
Like we did for Sanchez.
Pay a bit of his salary for like a year or so or some shit. So we just pay stupid contracts, and obviously these players can't go anywhere because they can't afford. Other clubs can't afford the contracts. So.
Well, I at the moment is a West Ham fan, and he says West Ham will have money to play with after Declan Rice's departure, but I'm not sold on their philosophy under Moyes. I think he needs a major rethink, and I sort of agree with you, but you have to give him at least the first half of the year now because he got them in Europe. So you got to give him.
Who's West Ham striker again?
They had Antonio up front. They had Scamacca, and Bowen was scoring. That Scamacca got injured, so they had him, and he was doing good at the start, but he got injured.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit. They need probably a striker as well. And Rob touches on the subject that I wanted to touch on right at the end, and obviously this can all change. But he says, who's getting relegated? Who's getting relegated, Johnny?
I'll say Sheffield United, Bournemouth. And I got to say Luton. I'm sorry. I hope Luton stay up.
Yeah, Rob is right. Before I read out the other chats, Rob said at the start of the year, Leicester getting relegated. He's saying he picked Leicester's relegation. He did get that. If he had to put money on that at the start of the year, he'd been laughing.
Because they had some really good players when they went down. So,
see, I sort of might agree with Rob's a bit more. He reckons Luton, Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest. See, I wouldn't want any three of them to go down, but I think Luton are gone. Nottingham Forest, depends how much money Marinakis spends. I mean, he's spending big. He doesn't give a shit about Olympiacos anymore, so they may stay up. I don't know. But I'm saying Luton. You know what? I reckon I'm with you, Bournemouth. I think Burnley will survive with company.
Yeah, because I really like the way Burnley play.
You know who I'm going to say, man, who I'm going to call an outside-the-box one, and it's because they're missing him for 6 months? Brentford. Missing
No.
Ivan Toney for the first 6 months, I reckon, is going to hurt them. And if it doesn't, like, I'm not saying it is going to happen. I'm just...
Their keeper's linked to Tottenham as well.
Yeah, so... But, yeah, Forest need Lingard to fire to be safe. He got sacked.
He's got no club. He
already got sacked at the moment. Yeah, Reborn says Skamaka hasn't worked. Bowen and Antonio are okay, but not the future. But yeah, like a lot of people are agreeing with our tips there. So, and I think most people are saying Man City are favourites, which the bookies will be saying as well. But
yeah,
we
need Pep Guardiola to leave that club.
Yeah, it's just like
like Rob doesn't even like Pep.
I know Rob doesn't even like him. What a trivial.
Do you like Pep now? Like, what does the guy have to do, Rob? Really?
No, Rob goes to me now. It took too long to win the Champions League. You know what? I actually do. No, but do you know what? Listen, I actually agree with that. I think he should have won it probably 2 years earlier than he did with City, but in the end, he still delivered them a treble, hasn't he? So
I wonder how many trophies he's actually won for the club now. I don't think he can count on 1-2 hands now.
Nah, it's ridiculous. He's won, what has he won? 5 Premier Leagues, a Champions League, that's 6. That's off the top of my head. He's won 2 FA Cups, I think. 7, 8. He's won cups. And he's won 5 League Cups, hasn't he? So it's definitely over 10. Either moment says, I didn't hear that. Maybe Hammers will go for him. But Lingard, well, you know what? When he was at West Ham, he played really well. So
that's when we should have sold Lingard.
Yeah, 100%. Reborn says cough by cheating. Cough.
Yeah. No, all you got to write is 115. That's what you got to write.
Yeah, that's just 100. Rob said Inter lost the UCL. Pep again dropped Walker, who was playing exceptional in the UCL. He almost blew it. Rob is so tough on him, isn't he? He's just... Well, don't you wish we could be like that?
That's why Rob's a coach. They can never make these guys happy. They're never happy.
Do you remember when we were like that about, like, I remember when United were at the top and we were like that with Ferguson. He would make a mistake and it was like, you just didn't even care because you knew you were that good.
Yeah, you always know if we lost the game, the next team we face, they're going to get
smashed. Yeah, it was like, it was, you just wish for those days to come back. But yeah, no, guys, thanks for coming in. We went, it was great to have everyone in for the first Premier League podcast. Like me and John said, we're going to be every Monday. We're going to try to do it every Monday. On the Mondays that John has work and can't come in, we're going to try to get Rob in. Chris reckons he's getting more into the soccer this year because of Ange at his club Tottenham. So he reckons he wants to try and come on a bit. But it's been a real great show. Thanks everyone for rocking up. The moment. Reborn says hay fever is kicking up a storm today. So must be weather in England. Yeah. If Man City go undefeated in the league, then I might change my mind about Pep, Rob says.
Oh, boy.
Oh, shit. That ain't happening, Rob. But... yeah, we'll be back again Monday next week. John, you don't have work next Monday, do you?
No.
Next
so 4 or 5 Mondays in a row.
Yeah, so we got a few in a row, probably till the season starts, that we will be here on Monday night. Hopefully by then we've got some more transfers to talk about. We'll talk about a few more things. Next week we can get into a few of the other clubs as well, but we'll definitely, there's some big things happening with Man United transfers, like we said. Now that it's hit July, everything is going to be kicking up. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Rob says, ciao all. If Pep goes to a team that doesn't have an open checkbook, I'll change my mind, Reborn says on Pep.
Hey, there you go.
I agree with that point too, to be honest.
He's been at rich clubs, hasn't he?
Yeah, I do agree with that. Chris C says, great show. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Johnny, any final words?
No, thanks for everyone coming for the first podcast. We'll be talking about, the weekly subjects come up, news stories, transfers, takeovers. So come with us for the ride and listen to our tips and see how we go.
That's it. And it's my bet in the HFD syndicate this week, so I gotta try to win some money.
Take us to the end of the year.
Well, I bet 3 weeks in a row last time, and then none of you's won in between, so you've put it back onto me. And there's no soccer on, so I'm a bit upset. I was hoping to just get you guys bet until soccer started again, but we'll see.
But the Women's World Cup is coming up, so...
That's what Rob just said. He goes, got my World Cup tickets? Chris, I'll advertise all that. Sorry, guys. Chris C says, we'll be back tomorrow night. Johnny, you will be on that show, correct?
Yeah, the footy show's back tomorrow night.
Yeah, so there'll be a footy show tomorrow night with Childo, Johnny G, and the big man Chris C. Chris C, the dam of the EPL, GT says, because he keeps saying Spurs are going to win it all. Yeah, where's Dam? I don't know where he is, but hey, GT, how you going?
Chris will be like 5-0 Spurs, 5-0 Spurs.
Yeah, 5-0 Spurs every week. But yeah, and then Wednesday night we'll be doing the podcast we are doing a hereditary watch-along for Reeves. And I have to eat this Vegemite thing because that video got to 30 likes. So if you want to see that, come and see it because I absolutely fucking hate Vegemite. So, but yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, you will be. And then, yeah, I'm not sure after that. But yeah, that next couple of days there'll be shows. So see you all then, guys. And yeah, we'll catch you tomorrow.
All right, peace out.